Stand up, don't drown in the dust. The land of the S0NG, a prize on your hand. Hold tight, don't lose your way, chasing for the glory to the end. Don't run, be the one, bring all your dreams to the glorious kingdom. Are you hearing the voice of Seth call your name? Lost in the storm, hold your face and sword. Go fight a secret, I win this war. We rise up higher, reach for the sky, hold on to your weapons with pride. We rise up higher, conquer the ark, get ready to fight for your life. We rise up, climb on, choose the highest ground of the pyramid of life. Let the spirit get you high, 'cause we are the kings, we are the queens. We will rise up to the top. Stand up, don't draw in the dust. The land of the S0NG, the answer in your head. Hold tight, it's worth the try, chasing for the glory in the fight. Don't run, you're the one, bring all your dreams to the glorious kingdom. Are you hearing the voice of Seth call your name? Lost in the storm, hold your face and sword. Go fight a secret, I win this war. We rise up higher, reach for the sky, hold on to your weapons with pride. We rise up higher, conquer the ark, get ready to fight for your life. We rise up, climb on, choose the highest ground of the pyramid of life. Let the spirit get you high, 'cause we are the kings, we are the queens. We will rise up to the top. Even when you fall, sticks and stones may break your bones, but you are stronger than the heaviest waves. The earthquake won't shake you, 'cause you are the king, you are the queen, you are the truth of the land. You rise up higher, reach for the sky, hold on to your weapons with pride. You rise up higher, conquer the ark, get ready to fight for your life. You rise up, climb to the highest ground of the pyramid of life. Let the spirit get you high, 'cause you are the king, you are the queen. You will rise up to the top. Stand up, don't drown in the dust. The land of the S0NG, a prize on your hand. Hold tight, don't lose your way, chasing for the glory to the end. Don't run, be the one, bring all your dreams to the glorious kingdom. Are you hearing the voice of Seth call your name? Lost in the storm, hold your face and sword. Go fight a secret, I win this war. We rise up higher, reach for the sky, hold on to your weapons with pride. We rise up higher, conquer the ark, get ready to fight for your life. We rise up, climb on, choose the highest ground of the pyramid of life. Let the spirit get you high, 'cause we are the kings, we are the queens. We will rise up to the top. Stand up, don't draw in the dust. The land of the S0NG.
What is going on, governors? Chiscool here, and we are going to be covering the insane matchup today in Arc of Osiris League. OV versus Song. And to cover this matchup, I'll be joined momentarily by Dragothian, but this match is going to be hype for a number of reasons. Both of these teams are incredibly strong. They both have a very powerful mid game. We'll be talking a little bit about the approach they might take for the structures that they're going to go battle for. However, OV is the two-time champion in Ark of Osiris League, and you've got to respect the dynasty they're building with a kingdom that is focused on crushing Ark League. So let's jump now to the dual cast, and we'll be joined in just a moment by Dragothian. Let's go. Okay, Dragothian, welcome, man. You hyped for this match? What? Let me say that differently. We talked about why we're hyped for this match. What has you hyped for this matchup that we're about to watch in the round of 16?
You know, I was hyped already. Okay, let me just say it that way. I was very hyped for this matchup. I was hyped when I was talking about it at the 13 UTC stream. However, we talked about 10 minutes before we started casting together today, and now I'm even more hyped. How's that even a thing? I am super hyped about this match. OV versus S0NG, two powerhouse alliances, two alliances that have proven they can get the job done. OV a little more so, considering they've kind of won. But S0NG,
no big deal. To 2 wins under their belt.
Yeah, just a little bit here, a little bit there, right? S0NG doing a great job getting close to that mark, but OV, you can't understate the fact of getting the job done versus almost getting the job done. You guys know in real life that's a big difference, right? So same thing here in the game. I'm looking forward to this, Chiz. Looking forward to seeing you and me casting this and seeing every little battle take place and see who's going to come out on top.
Yeah. Honestly, what do you think is going to decide this matchup? Do you think it's going to be a heavy structure game that differentiates things? Do you think it's going to be the arcs? Will one side just sort of have an arc game that's so strong they take all the arcs practically? Like, how do you think this is going to unfold?
I think we need to just leave the camera on the center is kind of where we should leave. Okay. We should leave it. I mean, look, this is going to be won or lost by who gets the arcs. I guarantee you. Both of these teams, very strong mid teams. OV has made their bread and butter and gotten those 2 wins on basically not losing arcs. When they lose arcs, they lose games. So if we see S0NG take 1 or more of those middle fights and take the arc and capture them, this could spell disaster. And OV does not tend to wait either. They tend to grab the arc, run it back to the closest structure, and cap it. So looking forward to seeing if there's some change from OV having evolved into something different, or if they're going to use the same template strategy. And I mean, I look to a team like, say, JST, where they have really put some emphasis on the structure game. Scoring 30,000 plus points in the structure game consistently every single week is no easy task, and they've been doing it consistently week after week.
Yeah, I've got my eye on the chat here, seeing what you all think about this game. Maybe y'all want to drop in the chat. Who do you think is going to win? And let's do this. How much do you think the spread is going to be, regardless of who wins? How many points do you think this game is going to be? Drago, I would put my money on this being a fairly close match.
I would say so too. I'm thinking within 4,000 points. It's going to come down to provisioning. Ooh. It's going to come down to who has the last arc. I think the combination of those two things will keep it within a 4,000 point game. And does OV insta capture if they end up winning that middle fight? And then conversely, does S0NG just kind of hold on to some things and say, okay, we're going to take the structure game. Can't win if you don't have any arcs to win at. I mean, there's going to be some plays and some counter plays and some counter strategies that we're going to be seeing live on the stream.
Yeah. One thing I think we can sort of look out for, and this match is going to start in just a couple minutes here, but one thing I think we can look out for is whether or not teams make the decision to refresh their troops before going to the middle, or if they cut from whatever building activities they were doing and go straight into mid. And I think the one time I remember, like, OV doesn't really lose Ark of Osiris, The one time I remember that they did, they were kind of cutting from structures to mid with lower health marches. And that's like the only time I've seen them kind of lose an arc, which makes sense. Like, if you have even numbers, but your troops are not full health, like, you're going to have some problems here. So that's one thing I kind of want to be on the lookout for. But I agree with you that it's probably going to be very close. I would say the spread is like no more than 7,000 points at the most, probably for these two.
Giving
teams.
yourself a little more wiggle room there, aren't you, Chis?
Well, okay. So, how about this? How about this?
4. I said
anything
4.
less than 7,000, and you were right. 7,000 or more, and my prediction was right. How about that?
Okay, so you're the
that gives you a pretty good range, bro.
Okay,
that's a good healthy range there. Right. I think you're probably gonna be right here, Drago. 7,000 or less is probably where this match is gonna be, which is a part of the reason we're really excited to cast it. So let's do this. Let's jump into the scoreboard real quick, and then in just a moment we'll jump into the game. Let's check this out and see kind of how the day has evolved with all these different teams. Then we can cover the 2 teams that are going to be battling just a little bit before the match starts. So let's go.
Sounds good.
Okay, here we are. OV versus Song. And a number of matches were really close today. Although, I say a number of matches were really close. Actually, a couple matches were really close. Like, really close. Peak versus 84 DL. Look at that. We got less than a 1,000 point game there. Woo. And then NNAV versus BG. BG pulling out the victory by just a few thousand points there. Those were some very close matches. The other matches were a little more spread by 10 or 15,000 points. We've got TR having beat Blackpink. I played in that match earlier today. They were a really great team to battle against. And then JST beating Phoenix Ash, PX34. You cast that earlier today. I personally can't wait to rewatch when you cast that. And by the way, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, consider subscribing so you don't miss out on the next Dark of Osiris League cast. And then scrolling down the list, the team that everybody seems to have marked as the one to beat is 1V. That's not my personal opinion. That's just based on where all of the coins have been going for your bets. Everybody seems to be betting for this realm that 1V will be one of those teams that is very, very top tier, and they are proving that. 88 LV beat the Hawks in 412A, 42,000 to 28,000. And then Blackjack, which is the main team, as I understand, from 1021, beat 1008, which is from Kingdom 1052, who, by the way, has a second team, and that, I should say a second team. They have 2 teams that have made it this far, which is, impressive. And now it's OV, the main team that is stepping to the plate to battle against Song. Now, I don't know, by the way, do you know if in Kingdom 1052 they kind of stack into one team to have all of their strongest players in the kingdom, or do they run 2 teams? Do you know?
I don't have any inside information there. I kind of wish I did. That being said, I mean, 1008 was their own animal before joining Kingdom 52. So I'm curious to see if that is what ended up happening. To be honest with you, if I had to take my guess, I don't think it did. I think, OV's won twice. Why would they mess with a winning recipe? I mean, is there that one guy, that one guy that just never did? Was there not a huge list of qualified and capable players already in Kingdom 52 that could have joined, So, I mean, I don't think they really messed with any of the rosters, especially on OV. Maybe when 008 got a few more extra players that came in from the waiting list for OV, that's possible as well. But, wow, really looking forward to this, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting question of philosophy around, do you stack to make one killer team that has a higher chance of winning at the cost of the quality of your second team? I feel like if you're building a kingdom, having many good teams is a good strategy. However, let's jump into the game in just a moment here. I should be able to enter, and we can see what good strategies these teams will be deploying. I mean, this match is going to be so hyped. Can I enter? Not quite yet. Almost.
I'm in.
You're in?
I'm in.
What? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's try again. Oh, there we go. There we go. Well, maybe. 15 UTC. Pick a battle to watch. Schedule. Why can't I enter the match? I may need to go back to the caster's booth real quick. Force quit the game, re-enter. So let's go. You can look at our beautiful faces.
As I stare at the match,
We'll It's okay. It's just the 3 minutes of warm-up. We're on our way back in. I'll make sure I can get into the match in just a second, and then we'll be off to the races.
Here, while we're doing this, since I can actually see everything. So last week, Song lost to BLN in the prior match. So Song does have one loss to their record. OV is a perfect 8-0. Looking at these different bases here, and feel free to jump in whenever you do actually get into the match.
Let me interject and jump into the match.
Okay.
Okay, Drago, take it away.
Okay. So we've got Moo on the red team, which is Song in this match with 253 million points of power and 7.4 billion with a B kill points, leading the front. And then on the blue team, we've got DBK52, 216 million power and 6 billion kill points to his name. These guys have got some juice going. There's your standard Slouty watch at the front as well. John Wick also on that next third lane, that third tier. We've also got, looking at the middle here for myself at least, 13 minutes. Even though there's still 40 seconds until the match starts, I'm staring at 13 minutes until the arc spawns. So with that being said, I'm looking forward to seeing both of these teams do a perfect execution of opening strategy. That means taking their obelisks very quickly. That means grabbing all 3 of their outposts as soon as they possibly can and starting to position for the very, very coveted first occupation points from their opponent's desert altar.
You know, you got to respect that double star wing banner.
Yeah.
From OV, man. Just reminding you, we're the champions. We're here to take this thing back. Get that 3rd mark on our flag. Here we go. Match begins. Let the fireworks fly. Let's see how many rallies they launch at the start here. Typically, you see at least 4 per side. 2 for your own obelisks, 2 for the opposing side obelisks. We're up to 6 rallies so far. It looks like Song taking the conservative route. There we go. More rallies popping up. Now up to 7 total rallies. 2 presumably are to Song's safe side. And then 1 is to the OV side of the battlefield. You know, Drago, if you can take an obelisk at the start of the match from the enemy, it's pretty catastrophic. Where do you sit these days with, like, run the rally on the obelisk, given the entrance of new commanders, by the way, that are pretty punchy? Or do you just kind of like pump the brakes, play it safe, don't commit the troops to the enemy obelisk? It's a fool's errand. What do you think?
You know, you always got to play your opponent. I think really what it comes down to, you know, when you're talking about this tier of team, expecting to get an obelisk from your opponent before the match even really gets rolling is probably wishful thinking at best. Hard push being used by Song there, and likely OV as well. 3 minutes capture on the obelisk, by the way, not being used by OV.
Not being used by OV, Drago.
No
That's
push.
A big deal. I mean, this is a very important play that just happened, everybody. This is so important to make note of. Why does this matter? Song has just committed 3 more points than OV has. And what that means is that if OV is careful with their use of points throughout this match, they will be ahead in their ability to deploy points for the mid-fight. And that is a big, big deal. I mean, that is a bog down worth of points for the mid-brawl, which means they could secure the first arc with the enemy having a 30% defense reduction for, I believe it's 30 seconds. So make note of this. Also, I want to call attention to the fact that Song actually has an offense opportunity here, because it is going to take a lot longer for OV to port forward. Whereas Song not only has extra march speed with the rallies, they can get downfield faster, they can port in sooner as well. So there is an offense opportunity here, given the one-sided nature of the use of hard push.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, I think I would like to say that I like Song's obelisk strategy just a little bit better, believe it or not, than OV, because they're only executing their offensive obelisk strategy on, and of course I think they just canceled it on the one that they were going towards, but they're only doing it on the one that's closest to them. So they're not doing it on the one that's closest to their opponent. And if they can get that executed, that could delay, and ultimately with 1 minute and 20 seconds left, wow, that could be devastating to OV's starting punch. They do have a lot of marches on the field, and they're heading towards the Shrine of Life on the bottom lane and Sky Altar, believe it or not. Song looking very strong on the positioning, getting to their Desert Altar very, very well. Speedy marches galore here. We have double C primaries. We have Ethelfled primary leading the way. Holy crap. We've also got some more double Cs. I mean, they are prioritizing movement speed over open field punch, especially to slow down that initial OV push that's starting to come in towards that middle lane on the bottom.
You know, I really like how Song is very aggressively moved up to protect their altar here. They've created just a ton of space, which I think is a wise decision between where the OV marches can freely walk and the structure itself, OV canceling their rally full of archers. I think that kind of was projecting the fact that they would cancel, that they were using archers there. Because typically, if you're actually going for an enemy obelisk, you run calves, baby. Calves for speed, and they didn't even have hard push, right? So that to me signals they probably weren't going for that. I actually, given the non-use of hard push by OV, I really kind of favor them for this first arc, Drago.
Yeah, I kind of do as well. And as I'm staring at other parts of the map here, I'm seeing something I don't think I ever would have thought I would have seen. This is a double C primary Honda secondary taking down a garrisoned outpost filled with Bakal and Herald. I mean, that's just got to get me for weirdest combo beating weirdest combo that I've seen lately, at least. Positioning wise, though, Desert Altar for both teams under heavy duress and assault. I do like Song's positioning on both. I think Song has done very well to get up on OV's side on the top lane for the Desert Altar, and they've positioned themselves very well on their own Desert Altar to keep that at least red for the beginning on their side. 2-1 seconds. Let's see where they pop.
Yeah, here we go. Song's got a Jad in position right next to the altar. Boom! OV caps the Desert Altar. Okay. And XY Captain, maybe not the most premium choice, but the fact that they got that thing at all is amazing. Heavy Swarm from Song on the Desert Altar. Scramble to fill. Now, boom, switches hands to Song. If they don't get that garrison in, which they haven't yet, garrison is sitting completely unharassed, southern part of that altar, free walking around, just kind of trying to hide here. Don't notice me. Nothing to see here. No garrison captain waiting and struggling to get into the structure. Chandragupta captain getting completely wrecked. Oh, man. Song now gets their captain in. Presumably, they get the swap. Swap hasn't happened yet. Chandragupta's still vulnerable. There it is. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like both sides really just kind of defended their own area there. Chisco, both are looking really good for their own teams.
So with the exception of that assault on Pakal, each side owns their own structures here. However, Song does have an outpost advantage. I mean, hey, you hold that outpost all game, that'd be a lot of points.
You take every little bit.
It actually is a disturbingly large number of points, but I don't know that they are actually able to pull that off. As they take a second outpost, I eat my own words, and they've got that like backline assassin crew on the move, man.
They really do, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from Song from a defensive standpoint. They're using Jadwiga, and we really saw this used to excellent effect on the JST match, where they were able to send reinforcements so much quicker than using Zenobia YSS and having to march those infantry, even with like a Guan Alex or an Alex Charles or something like that, right? It's still slower, whereas you can use those mobility commander primary usage commanders like Double C, like Jadwiga, like Takeda, those types of troop leaders. You can bring a cav, they're already going to be faster. It's giving them the ability to reinforce more quickly and more, just better in general. So, I mean, I like the way that they're doing this. Now, I do see on the top lane there's a Zenobia on the Shrine of War there, but there should also be quite a few players there. On the outside lanes, Jadwiga, to me, is the name of the game.
You gotta hand it to Song's aggression. I genuinely don't know how Song had so many marches on top of the Shrine of War, given that they were still attempting to take back their own altar, but they did have immense pressure on the Shrine of War and landed a rally. I mean, there's even an extra Xeno chilling out on the outside on the part of OV. I think They've got this probably pretty under control. I am impressed with OV's ability to stabilize that structure with 4 minutes and 15 seconds until the arc spawns. We're looking at a big arc brawl coming up, maybe? And I say maybe because OV's got the memo, go to mid, but Song, are they going to go mid? I guess. They got marches coming. They're taking their time, though.
Yeah, they're starting to get there. I mean, there's 4 minutes left. We saw this with the 60 MX match. We saw this with a couple other alliances. They just kind of went in when they wanted to, whenever they felt like their strategy has been executed. OV is definitely making this a priority. They are making it their focus.
Drago, look at this. They rallied a city, broke the rally, swarm incoming on the obelisk. Drago, they're going for the throat, bro. This is it. They're going to end the fight. Right here, they're trying to take this obelisk and end the match. If they can take this obelisk, hold it, and port forward marches, or port forward cities, this would be devastating. But a Monotori garrison is no joke. Good garrison placement by OV. Not a great garrison to get swarmed, especially by Cavs, especially by Alexander Nevsky. So this is going to be rough. I don't think they can hold this garrison. I don't know that they can hold this garrison.
Defense debuff. There's a 100% chance of that between all the XYs and all of the Nevskys there. They need to pour troops into this. And not only that, are they going to be able to keep it? I guess is the next question. Do they have a
They don't have a captain. They didn't bring a captain. That's what I find surprising is I actually think that play they made was really cool. But I feel like why make the play without a captain? Maybe they just didn't have a Jad free, you know? I mean, it's not like everybody's just got a Jad YSS with full gear sitting around waiting to be used for some trick play, right?
You know, OV's doing a great job holding that structure and continuing to push into the middle. The Desert Altar on the bottom lane is under heavy assault by OV as well. There is a Jadwiga garrison there, but there's a good swarm and a very good Chandragupta Nevsky garrison rally.
Oh, yeah.
Going up against this. This could be devastating. A little flipperoo here where they thought they were going to have something nice, but they ended up losing instead.
Those reinforcements arriving just in time. I do think you're right. OV is going to take the altar, and we start to question, right? How worth it was it to send all these troops up here on the part of Song, given that they aren't going to take it, and they probably aren't going to hold it, and all those marches could have been in middle, or they could have been pressuring a higher value structure, you know?
Oh, my goodness.
It's hard to say.
Sliver of health over and over, but quality reinforcements.
Proving they've got that champion skill level, executing cleanly to barely hold on to that thing. That's exactly how you want to do it, man. Just enough to get the job done. A clinic from OV in all the right troops in all the right places and not a troop more.
You know, I think they brought extra too. I see this XY Nevsky up here that has half health. There was another couple marches that added into what was already in the rally that started the swarm in the first place. OB doing a fantastic job, just-in-time reinforcements, which is exactly what was going to help them keep that. Now, on the other side of the map, having taken the Desert Altar, not only did they defend with quality, but they just took with quality and are keeping it right now. There's no Song in sight that I can see going towards this Desert Altar. This is going to start ticking in favor of OV, and it's a good thing because they're down currently by 1,100 points.
Yeah, wow. That's interesting because I was under the impression that OV was winning the structure game, but they're not. Actually, Song is winning the structure game. So this arc is critically important. A lot of healing going on in mid. Remember how OV has extra points to deploy? Did you catch what skills they used? Chat, help us out. What skills were deployed here? All that healing leads me to believe that the healing ability was used, right?
Oh yeah, that was definitely a Heaven's Grace of some kind, or there's another healing skill.
Had to be Heaven's Grace.
Some kind of pouch.
I think mending. I think it's mending pouch. I think that was Heaven's Grace. The amount of healing there was probably Heaven's Grace, which. Wow, look at that clean grab breakaway by Doc from OV. One player from Song saying, wait, guys, the carrier's getting away. They are riding that carrier, and Double C is knocked down. However, the cleanup is here for OV. I think that I called this at the start, that when they didn't use hard push, that they really had the opportunity to do a big play in mid, and they did it right here. They used more points.
Oh, no.
And those points led them to victory. Goes to show that it's not just about the marches that you bring, but also those ability points are absolutely
Obelisk
crucial.
down, Shiz. Obelisk down, bottom lane. That's an XY Nevsky in the garrison, and it's almost full.
2-minute hold here.
On the top
lane. If they take this obelisk, dare I say this match might be over. The amount of disruption that the high power players from Song could dish out is catastrophic. But 1 minute and 30 seconds is too long in my estimation for having to hold this thing. I don't know if they could pull that off.
It's a long time, but look how much damage it's doing to the swarming marches. I mean, Attila Takeda has never been known for burst damage. That's just going to give you a consistent, nice white number. You've got double C primary swarming. That's going to go down here very shortly. If they just had some kind of a rally on a city over here and with a garrison inside of it,
if they had a Jad in this thing with YSS, they would hold.
But look at the map, Chiskel. OV only has 4 buildings. Everything else is currently red. This 3,000 point arc is going to be basically negligible.
Wow. Yeah, 3 altars in the hands of Song. This is still anybody's game, baby.
OV is shifting down, though. OV is shifting towards the bottom lane desert altar with quickness.
Another structure flipping. Shrine of War going to Song. So OV putting in the all-in to commit to mid to get the arc. I actually like the all-in commit to mid to get the arc, personally. I'm a very on board with that plan. To say, like, hey, look. Oh, no. Julius Caesar captain? Drago? I know that he's got a relic. But
got a relic.
Last I checked, the relic is not that good. All 4 altars in the hands of Song right now.
Wow,
remember when we said building strategy, arc strategy?
Yep.
Song is doing a building strategy, man. They have to be. You don't take 4 altars by accident, right? Like, they're running a building strat. You don't take the enemy obelisk by accident. And if they had gotten it, oh my gosh.
I mean, it's still not a wrap here. I mean, these buildings are still mostly red for Song, and that arc carrier is dangerously close to a currently red desert altar. So, I mean, there can be some plays made. We know Song is not opposed to sending cross-map rallies against cities to move troops. What happens if they send 3, 4, 5 rallies over to the OV obelisk side on the top lane and swarm that march down and drag it over to the desert altar and grab it? Now that it goes blue, my whole theory goes bye-bye. But, I mean, that's the kind of thing.
I like your insight, and I like where your head's at, but I think given the state of the map, they're probably not going to run that play now. It's just too many blue marches over here at this point for that to be effective. In fact, all those blue marches are probably about to descend on the Shrine of War. In fact, you can see all the lines. This thing's going to turn into a pincushion with all the lines of OV marches that probably move downfield. This Sky Altar's been under contention for a while. Ooh, Burt Rally. Let's go. Burt Nevsky. Okay. I like it. I like the collection of folks that are going to move in here from OV. OV is not going to take this structure game sitting down, but that is a presence from Song. I mean, they may not have taken the obelisk, but make no mistake, they are moving in on that altar.
Yeah, this is looking really strong for Song when it comes to the structure game. And the first arc, obviously the most negligible arc that can be spawned in the game with 3,000 points versus the escalating 3,500 and 4,000 points that the next 2 will provide. I'm still waiting to see where they're going to take. Looks like we're sitting at the obelisk here. Are they going to cap it pretty quickly here? Or are we gonna see some shenanigans that we don't really see OV doing, and that's holding the arc? We're going to see how this plays out. OV needs to get their structure game under control, or Song will basically nullify, and already started 2,500 points in favor of Song right now. So they have to cap it just to keep up.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I mean, what I like about this game is you've got teams running 2 very different strategies, and each team is going to have to adjust to what the opposing side is doing. And I actually am inclined to believe that it's OV that needs to do more adjustment here. And the reason that I say that is I feel like going for arcs is kind of the default play, whereas going for buildings, like you obviously have to react and get your darn buildings back. So the question is, how do you change your game plan to get the buildings back and to get back on track with your points per minute? Because this is hugely problematic. 410 to 740. I think you're right, Drago, that it's very impressive. Song got OV to burn more points in the mid-fight, and then is going to make up the difference in points just by holding 3 altars.
All right, it's basically now to a 3,000-point game on the dot, and I gotta tell you, this Pakal Herald Garrison on the outpost strategy just doesn't make any sense. These XY Nevskis are just ripping them apart. That's a conscious decision. That's not a that's just a march rolling around. That's a conscious decision to use Pakal Herald as a garrison. Just doesn't make sense.
I mean, sometimes it's like I was joking earlier, right? It's not like you've got a fully suited up Jad YSS just sitting around that you can throw in there.
Put a Charles YSG in there for God's sake, something.
Yeah. No, you're spot on. I think that we can appreciate the value of the new commanders that just hit the game and their ability to cause really fierce backfield disruption, right? Like you've got a new Cav commander that is a true monster, which means he's fast and he's rolling around in the backfield just savaging these outposts. I mean, if Song holds these outposts the entire match practically, how many points is that? It's not a small number.
A lot of points.
It's a lot of points.
It's 80 points per minute.
It is a shocking number of points.
Excuse me. 90 points per minute.
The building game right now by Song is very fierce.
And OV holding this arc, I'm just not sure about that play. I know that they're trying to reconsolidate their forces and trying to get their strategy back on track, but I mean, they're under assault. they're under. It's not like they're pushing forward and going to take. I mean, it looks like this Sky Altar on the top lane could possibly go blue, but I mean, it's red and it looks pretty fiercely red. Everything else that's blinking is currently blue. So, I mean, they need to cap this. They need to get some more arcs going because they're going to be behind with the structure game this strong from Song.
Let me ask a question, right? Like these teams only make intentional plays. You know what I mean? They've thought through all the contingencies and possibilities and board positions. And when they make a choice, it's not like, I guess we'll do this. It's we've thought through what to do and we're doing it. So they've thought this through and they're holding the arc. Could it be, Drago, that what they are doing is farming ability points right now by having a lower score than Song? The ability point generation is higher. Could that be a part of the story here?
I think if Song was also using their points too, that would make a lot of sense. But the fact that they haven't really used any of their points.
Did they use anything in the mid-fight?
I don't think so. So, I mean, they're going to have the points to counter whatever OV is able to do, whether it's Heaven's Grace on a to the death or vice versa, or even a Swift Stride to get more marches there or whatever that looks like, right? They're going to have the points to do whatever they want. So, I mean, if they're delaying the possibility of knotting up this per minute score for points on alliance skills, maybe they think they need that to win the next fight. It's possible. They're going to be behind.
Well, we do see Bertrand rallies going on here with a Nevsky secondary. That is a powerful rally, brand new to the game. I mean, I'll be doing testing later today. I haven't seen testing one way or another that says like, yes, this is the way, or no, it is not. But I feel like, again, OV does nothing without purpose. So OV must have tested and must have realized that this rally is the way to take down a Xeno, or might just be the better rally to run. What do you think?
It's all about the testing. We're going to have to see. And also you have to think about this too, right? So the game mode of Ark of Osiris and Osiris League, it's completely different than the game mode of KBK or Inside the Kingdom Fighting. So what works the best and has the most effect in Ark may not necessarily be the best or most effective in regular gameplay. So there's multiple types of testing that needs to be done. Conversely, on the other side, we have a Chandra Gupta Nevsky rally that's doing very good work against the Jadwiga. So they just, in fact, took that desert altar and now hold that desert altar with a solid presence. So, I mean, there's multiple ways to do things, right? But I think I haven't seen enough Bertrand Nevsky rallies to know if that's the play or not. I know that Chandra Nevsky is a solid play just because of the synergy between their two March skills. But right now I'm looking at a map that's still even though it looks a little funky because you got two altars to two altars. There's going to be some movement either way, and still holding that arc is OV at the top with 4 minutes until the timer runs out.
I like how OV really flipped the script over here and took this desert altar and, making a little statement here. You may not stuff your rallies with a garrison captain, but we'll put ours in with a garrison captain because Jad YSS at this desert altar with all this presence from OV is really disastrous for Song. And in 45 seconds, this is going to start ticking points for OV. So maybe the game plan by OV is to say, hey, we're gonna slow this match down. We're gonna get this building game back into our control, and then we'll move this arc when we're darn good and ready to take the next one.
They're going to be behind when they cap this arc, Chisco. So it's definitely not the points thing because they'd still be behind. As far as what you're saying, trying to control the pace of the game, I agree with you. That's probably what they're doing. The problem is that's not OV. OV is pedal down to the floor. Every arc counts. We need as many of these arcs to win. This is completely different than what I'm used to seeing OV do. OV has always been heavy, heavy, heavy middle. Let's win 4 arcs. Let's win 3 to 4 arcs. And that's how we take home the gold. And when we don't see that happen, this game plan from Song is perfect. I mean, they've lost their desert altar right now, but they'll likely get it back here pretty soon. And then same thing, they've lost. Song has taken the sky altar on the bottom lane away from OV, so the benefit that would have given OV with that desert altar going blue is now nullified, and it's a 3,600 point game right now in favor of Song, and they still have the points per minute total going in their favor, and Song is just letting them wait. I mean, they're like, thank you for not making another arc that we could possibly lose at the end of the match by 4,000 points.
Yeah. I wonder if OV isn't going for some sort of skill combination or point combination by delaying. There's a 10-minute cooldown on Heaven's Grace. Do they want a Heaven's Grace again? I don't know. I do see this Sky Altar, currently held by Song, is getting heavily swarmed. So there is a possibility here that OV flipped. It's like I was saying, they flipped the script on the buildings and have 3 altars to the opposing side's 1.
Yeah, they're really focusing on that desert altar on the bottom lane. Huge fights on the top lane too, in between the Shrine of War and the desert altar for OV. OV doing a great job of keeping the fight away from their own desert altar and pushing the fight forward to the Shrine of War of Song. So there could be some flips here, and now we have a little bit of a flip with 3 altars being in favor of OV. That being said, it's almost a 4,000 point game again still, and the points per minute, even though it looks a little funky, is still in favor of Song. Like, it's still in favor of Song. It doesn't seem like it should, but it is. And now we're evened up again.
Wow. This is a really close matchup. It exactly as we thought it might be, right?
It really could. It really could. And again, like 44 seconds until this arc despawns, by the way.
Yeah, are they going to cap this?
I'm staring at it.
We need to page the arc carrier on my screen. The arc is showing as being in the center, but where do you? Oh, there it is. Just kidding. That's why they actually have now capped it. Okay. I was worried that I was going to have to get the megaphone and remind the arc carrier to score the arc before it respawns in the middle.
Paging JY. Yeah.
That got really close. So now the timer's set again. 8 minutes till arc spawn in the middle.
Is this going to be a 2 arc game? I would have never thought this, especially with OV controlling the arc. I would have never thought that this would have been a 2 arc game.
It could be a 2 arc game. It's a 700 point game right now.
It is.
That's really close. And we're about to see Song. No, I don't know that they're going to get this thing, actually. They're contesting it. I don't think they're going to get it. Good push on the Desert Altar by Song. Even if they cap this thing, it'll just be point disruption. I don't think they have the bodies to hold it.
Song's going to start generating points here very soon. They've been up consistently 30 to 100 points per minute through this whole arc holding ordeal. Okay, so that's why they're still in the lead even after losing an arc and having it captured by OV. And their Desert Altar on the bottom lane is 10 seconds away from starting to tick 150 points per minute, which will give them an advantage. They're pushing on the Desert Altar on the top lane against OV, and while it's not a massive push, it's enough to disrupt some movement, and needing to focus is OV on that Desert Altar. Same thing on the other side. Shrine of War defended very well by OV, and now pushing heavily on the Desert Altar side for Song. So I mean, they're blowing and counter blowing and hitting on one side and hooking on the other, and now we've got an arc to deal with in 6 minutes and 30 seconds. This could be, I think we may have both been a little liberal. This may be a 2,000 point match.
Yeah, it's gonna be really close, actually. I think you're gonna win that bet, Drago, of 7,000 or less.
Yeah, we'll talk about payment later.
Okay, duly noted. Oh, we've got a altar flip here. Big deal. 3 altars again in the hands of Song. The building strategy unfolding before your eyes, folks. What a weird situation for OV. They controlled the pace of the arc turn-in, waited until Song could predict exactly when it would get turned in, because there just was only so much time left on the timer. Song has then coordinated their attack in a way such that it's time to go middle. But what do you do if you're OV? Do you go and get your structures back first? Or do you go to the middle? And OV has created a situation where there's only going to be probably 3 arcs in this game. So only 2 more remain.
At most. Yeah,
so you can't make up the points with arcs, really, unless you move quite swiftly and even up the building game quite a bit.
You're
so
exactly
this is
right.
a conundrum that they've got on their hands here, and I don't know what the answer is.
Well, Song's answer is get to the middle right now. And with 5 minutes until this arc spawns, they're already by the temple in force.
Wow.
This was a play from the beginning. Was to really take the structure game that first arc. If they keep it, just keep focusing the structures, or at least be defensive and grab your own structures back when they obviously will push onto your structures. And then that second arc, just make sure you are positioned to go heavy middle and have a solid positioning for the next arc to spawn. I mean, Song's doing a great job of holding their structures. It's always just enough, and that's really what's needing to happen in these types of matches where it's going to be down to the wire. It's a 1,400 point match right now with, again, Song winning by 180 points per minute. They have the middle, and again, if they can control this next arc, this could be a huge blow to OV's chances to win this match.
Yeah, this is, it reminds me, of a moment from Star Wars here, and, now witness the power of this fully operational battle station, right? Like, here comes the real Song mid push. If you thought they were fighting for mid before, here's the real deal. So let's see what happens in this mid push where Song is now showing us true commitment, I think, to taking this arc. They got here early, and that, to me, is the tell. But the real tough spot for OV is that Song was able to hold 3 altars for a long time. And that's happened right before this push to the middle, man. So, possible Swarm going to be able to take this Desert Altar. Super Shenron moving in with 3 marches. Desert Altar's very low. No reinforcements. 1 reinforcement. Backup Jad on the way.
That's the way to do it.
I think, if I had to guess, Song is committing the absolute minimum possible at this point to defending their structures. So they started the match by making the opposing side freak out about structures. And now that means they can leave their own structures fairly empty? Possibly?
I mean, there's no rallies from Song right now. Any rally on the map right now is from OV. So the question is, what you just said, is that true? Where Song was like, okay, we're going to switch completely to the mid game now, or was the opposite true? And OV has decided, hey, we're going to do what Song just did to us, but on the second arc. Now, keep in mind, Song is already up right now, points per minute wise, by a significant amount. Also, general point totals by almost 2,600 points. And they could lose this middle arc, which is 3,500 points as well. So the timing couldn't be any worse. But I mean, every rally right now is an OV rally. There are 0, count them 0 song rallies right now, and they're right now just defending. They're doing
Look
everything
at this
they can to hold.
defense on the Desert Altar. Double
Great
C
job.
march after double C march, sending in those calves exactly as you described, Dragothian, about how fast moving you can bring those calves into a garrison. Exactly what you said. And okay, they're going to lose the garrison, but they did hold on to it for a while. Also, let's get the mid fight going.
Yep.
War drums, Heaven's Grace, early cast. Not really anything to heal yet.
I don't see heals happening. That might
Mystical
be from the original
formation.
fight.
War drums. To the death. There it is. To the death on both sides. Okay, big play made. Big play. This is the arc that defines
Look at the positioning.
The winner and loser potentially for this match. Both teams using To the Death. There's War Drums for Song as well.
The extra points.
All in on this arc. Everything we have says the captains for both teams. Let's go. Here it is. The ball of chaos unfolding before your eyes. Those poppin' red numbers making it impossible to even tell what in the world is happening.
Wow.
I see a lot of blue sad face marches. I see a lot of red sad face marches.
It's going to come to who can reinforce best.
Couldn't tell you who's going to win this brawl and be the last team standing. But this was an all-in play by both sides. Make no mistake about that.
I mean, OV needs this. OV needs this to keep it. And I will say they're inching closer and closer to the arc with 15 seconds until this thing spawns. Song in a solid position, but OV has now closed that gap. But at what cost? A lot of marches going back for OV. A lot of marches. In fact, the majority of the marches going back for OV. This is turning very red very quickly. OV has a shot, but they need to grab this arc and peel with it quick. Otherwise, if Song gets this, they may have a free and clear path to their maybe Shrine of War on the top lane or maybe an outpost on the back lane. They have lost their Desert Altar on the bottom lane, has Song. So that is something to consider when we're talking about points per minute, but they are trying to effectively get it back right now during this whole process. Has a rally on it with some Swarm. So it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, this is just wrapped up. Song's got this arc. Free and clear. So now OV has to figure out how to convert that altar they took into a lot of points. A lot of points to make up for this arc. That mid brawl was a lot closer than you might think, by the way. Like, yes, there's a lot of Song marches here. No, they are not very healthy. It's very, very, very close.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a solid play. I mean, the strategy, you can see it unfold from the very beginning of the match. That first arc dictated how this entire rest of the match went. Both teams using To the Death. I was very shocked with that. I thought for sure there would be some Heaven's Grace.
Sorry to interrupt. Let me ask you a question. Am I remembering correctly that Heaven's Grace and To the Death was used?
Heaven's Grace was the showing on the screen was from the first arc. It was not cast the second arc.
Okay. Because I was going to say, I didn't see the healing from the Heaven's Grace. Yeah. And also, they can't be healing when you have To the Death active.
Correct.
So I think you're right that we saw a double fire of the skill on the screen, but that was not what was actually active. It must have been War Drums, Mystical, and To the Death, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
I think War Drums was extra on the Song side. I don't think OV had one of the buffs. So I think OV had a little bit less buffs on. They were out-buffed by Song, and that's when you started to see about 20 seconds into the fight, more and more blue members going back with sad faces and broken marches. And I mean, again, looking at this map, right, it's completely even on the structure side, and all three outposts are still
90 points per minute, man.
It's crazy.
90 points per minute in favor of the team that, it's not their structures, right? It's like the opposing says. So what I'm trying to say is that's a 180 point swing.
Yep.
Oh my. But wait, Drago, this is not over. This is far from over. Arc Carrier moving in a very dangerous route. The Song Arc Carrier has taken this arc tragically close to the Desert Altar. OV is not done, and I don't know about you, but this is looking like there is a very real possibility that OV cleans up this field of low health marches and takes control of that arc. They've even got an infantry rally cross the screen here, which they're almost certainly going to break to really collapse in on this arc. I think there is a high risk that Song loses this, but thankfully for Song, they've got a carrier hoofing this thing valiantly toward a safer position. Holy moly. This is very precarious.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm seeing OV trying desperately to grab this, but I'm also seeing Song holding their own. They're holding the Desert Altar with no problem right now. I mean, OV should peel some of those marches that are coming to reinforce to take that Desert Altar once the rally that inevitably has launched towards it. Here it comes from Super Shenron. Start to swarm that down and grab it. I don't know if they're going to have enough, though, and really positioning is key here. Song knowing how to have movement on the battlefield, double C primary, Saladin primary, XY primary, Nevsky primary. I mean, they're all Cav. They out-mobilize their opponents. They're always able to be where they need to be, even as a reaction. Right now, clearly this was a mistake by Song, in my opinion. They should have went to top lane, or they could have even gone to the outpost and been just fine. But this can be countered by the fact that the position is just so close to the obelisk for Song, and if they can just keep a decent amount of garrison reinforcements coming into the Desert Altar there for Song, they'll be in good shape. Now, if this goes blue, and there's still a continuous stream of marches coming in for OV and passing by the way, unsupported XY Nevsky rally going to the Shrine of War of OV. They're starting to lose structures on the back end too, is OV. Yet lost that Sky Altar on the bottom lane already. This could be a big flip, but they need to take this Desert Altar first. And this field's getting cleaned up by Song.
Yeah, this was a play of possibilities, and now it's a play of desperation.
Yep.
This is a tough spot to be in. I mean, that carrier is free and clear. They could cap it if they needed to, as long as this obelisk is moderately garrisoned, such that, OV couldn't come in and take the arc and drop it in the obelisk themselves. This is a pretty safe position to be in. I almost would stop marching this thing. Just leave it like right in this area. Not too close to the obelisk, right? Let the field get cleaned up, and then move it into wherever it needs to be for its final destination here. This is pretty clear though. Well, I mean, there's a couple marches dangling behind, but it feels pretty cleaned up. So now what happens, Drago? Let's walk through this. So if you're Song, you're showing a 3,200 point lead on the board, plus you're holding an arc that's worth, what is it? Is it 3,500 points?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what do you know? That 7,000 point barrier.
I know.
Here's looking at that 7,000 point spread is looking like is where we're at now. But a lot can happen. So 15 minutes remaining. Actually, not that much can happen in 15 minutes, but there is. Oh, wow. And this keys right back into your concern at the start of the match about this being a 2-arc game. Mm-hmm. So if you're Song, you're not letting go of this arc.
Mm-mm.
Why would you have another arc?
Yeah.
You popped to the death. Both sides did. But this could be a 2-arc game. Yep. And this is very interesting, Drago, because I think you called the shot that this was a really risky play on the part of OV to not go for a 3-arc game or a 4-arc game. Because in the world in which OV had scored this arc, I mean, there could be another arc to play for. But in the world in which you are Song, you're winning by 3,000 points, and you're holding on to 3,500 additional points in your pocket, why risk going for a wider spread of victory? You only got to win by 1 point here.
I mean, they're going to win by more than 1 point. They're going to win by more than 1 point.
Obviously, it's going to be more than a 1 point game.
Than me at this point. Okay, so yes, 100% correct on everything you just said. That hindsight, of course, the commentating crew can certainly rely on the hindsight and say, yeah, I did call it, but having it actually guaranteed with hindsight is obviously a benefit that we have that they didn't have. That being said, the alters are even and have been even for quite some time, but still points per minute total in favor of Song has been from the very beginning of the match. That's why they have what is almost a 4,000 point lead plus an arc in the pocket. This is going to be a tool to show how to beat these teams that require arcs to win. Because again, OV needed these arcs. Hard push being used by Song. This type of strategy with Song, and you see this with JST, and you see this with the 60 teams, the 960 teams, and there's other teams that are using the same type of strategy. It's just consistently having more points per minute, keeping your opponent off balance, and look at the outpost game. The outpost game is just so sick from Song.
Yeah,
taking those outposts throughout this match consistently and holding them has been a huge, huge deficit for OV. Even when they take an alter from Song, it's nullified. That's 90 points per minute from all those outposts versus 150 points per minute from the alter, making it only a 60-point delta. And they've already taken your alter as well, so you're always ahead.
I'm inclined to believe that Song perhaps has taken nearly an arc worth of points of differential here from just the outposts over the course of this match.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere between 1 and 3 outposts have been flipped in favor of Song the entire game. That is a lot of points. And okay, 1 is only 30 points per minute, 60-point differential. So maybe I'm exaggerating the difference here, but even like 1,000, half an arc worth of points would be, I think we would say, very noteworthy, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And Song continuing to put the pressure on, OV doing everything they can to take some of these structures, but Song continuing to do a fantastic job of just scarce. That's all they need to do. Just keep our structures, do some pushing across the map, and hold the arc until it's ready to get taken here. And maybe, I'd say 3 minutes, 2-3 minutes, and this arc will be captured, and that'll be GG for the OV team. Song has done a fantastic job. And this kind of, when I'm thinking about this, right, we talked about it earlier. Song's lost a match already this season to BLN. Is BLN that good? Like, did BLN just beat the potential finals competitor to JST? Did that just happen? Like, we need to start talking about that as far as, they lost to BLN last week pretty handily. It was a few thousand points.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting question. I've always felt, based on my observations of Song, that they're one of the strongest teams on the board. And so the idea that they would have lost any matches up to this point is fairly surprising to me. They're very strong. You can see from this gameplay here against the two-time champions with, I don't know how many of the same members are on the team, but probably a non-trivial number, right, of returning members on the side of OV here.
Mm-hmm.
Song is just very, very good at Arc of Osiris League.
Clearly very good. They're defeating the two-star dual champions in OV. And we had another question that you had asked earlier in the match, and that was, have they integrated some of these teams together whenever 1008 came over? And the answer is definitely yes. We've highlighted a couple of the players on the OV side, Super Shenron being one of them. There's quite a few in the 1008 team that are now on the OV team. So they have integrated quite a bit, and maybe that's the difference between, having won 2 out of the first 3 seasons and not getting to the finals possibly this match with just over 4,500 points behind, plus another 3,500 point arc. So that's 8,000 points in the pocket of Song with 9 minutes 40 seconds left. I don't think there's any amount of provisioning that will go anywhere near getting that total smaller.
Song even doing more city rallies here. So Song is really kind of revealing some important plays from the playbook. Going for obelisks by virtue of rallying a city Nothing to see here. It's just a city rally. Don't worry. But then, boom, they drop. How many troops can you have in a city rally, Drago? Over 2 mil, right?
Yeah.
So if you rallied this obelisk, you could only have a much smaller number of troops. Whereas you rally that city, what is it, like 2.8? Something. I mean, you have a lot of troops in that rally, and then boom, you go hit something. In this case, they just used it to convey more troops downfield to take out gatherers and then dominate the outposts. This is very insightful as to how a really top-tier team thinks about using the tools at your disposal, right? A city rally is not a city rally. It's just a troop transport mechanism.
OV using Valiant stand on their own desert altar. They're needing to be aggressing, trying to get this arc, and they're using Valiant stand as a garrison, and they're losing their Shrine of War on the bottom lane too. This is troubling because I think you pointed out something very astute. At the bottom now, it's all a moot point because the arc was capped. But if they did a rally on the obelisk, and I mean, you obviously have 10, 12, 15 cities you could send rallies on from across the map, from the bottom lane obelisk, it doesn't matter. Just send a bunch of rallies down there, cap the obelisk, and just try and get lucky. Kill the arc carrier and cap that obelisk. This could have quickly been a knotted up match, but right now it's almost a 10,000 point match.
Yeah, I mean, I think at that point you're just like asking if the other team is asleep at the wheel or not. And, you know, like, will you notice we're rallying 3 cities? And I think given that they themselves are rallying cities as a part of their core strategy, I feel like they would be pretty observant and just score the arc. But to your point, if they had launched a couple city rallies, perhaps they could have forced an early arc capture and given themselves an opportunity to have another arc on the board to fight for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that can make this match a lot closer. You know, I think that what this match proves more than anything, and I think this is something to really kind of focus on as we watch these last 7 minutes kind of unfold, the quality of the teams that are in the season that we're in right now has escalated exponentially. You know, this is reminder, this isn't even the finals, guys. This is top 32. So you guys are witnessing a finals caliber or a grand finals caliber match in the top 32 of one of the 4 realms. This is incredible to watch. I'm excited to see the continued success of Osiris League playoffs and the teams that are fighting in these top 32 matchups. Just to get here, I mean, just to get here is almost impossible. I mean, look at the teams that are there. You have to beat those teams to get to the top 32. You don't just waltz in. So just to get here, it's hard as heck to do. And then on top of all that, you're beating champions to get to the next level at 4 weeks out from the finals. I mean, the level of competition has just escalated so much over the last 4 seasons and now into the 5th season.
It's pretty incredible. You are. I was thinking the exact same thing when you said that we're watching a finals caliber match here.
Mm-hmm.
Really great gameplay from both teams, and things are tougher than they used to be. A lot tougher than they used to be. Like, the teams that are in the bracket at this point are all really, really, really strong. And we're talking meta marches. We're talking committing a lot of time outside of just the Arc League matches to practicing and testing and being ready with every ounce of preparation they can put into it. So this is what high-end Arc League looks like. And really, I feel like any of these teams that are pushing forward in these stages of League at this point could have made it potentially all the way to a finals match.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I'm sitting here looking at the scores as well. Still 620 points per minute in favor of Song. I mean, they're just continuing to execute the strategy that's gotten them an 8,000, almost 9,000 point lead to this point versus 380 points per minute for OV. And again, 2 out of the 3 outposts currently red. The other outpost is ticking points for OV at least, but there is a march that just came from that direction that is red as well. The board looks exactly the way it's looked all match. You've had at least a cut in half map with a couple or 3 outposts red as well that are supposed to be blue. Now finally starting to see some outposts flip blue as well. On the very bottom of the map there was a double C there taking that outpost from Song, but maybe that could have happened about 40 minutes ago. I think that might have helped a little bit more. Desert Altar being held very well by Song as well in the bottom lane. Everything blinking still. I mean, everybody's still fighting, but it's now a 9,000 point match, and Provision should be coming back here pretty soon. We are less than 4 minutes until the match is over. The Arc will spawn with 20 seconds left on the match, but obviously it takes a lot longer than that to bring it back. So.
Yeah, more like I think a minute 20 seconds or so with a perfect carry, fast marches, something in that realm. I don't remember the exact number, but there's not enough time. Not all the speed buffs in the world could get that Arc to where it needs to go.
I mean, this is looking like obviously Song is going to be moving on to the next round here. Three minutes left until the match is over. Another hard push being used there by Song. I mean, why not? You're still taking structures. You took the obelisk, by the way, on the bottom lane with a minute left until it captures. Are we going to see a little end game poured in, kind of like what we saw? I know you said you haven't seen it yet because you were playing at the 13 UTC hour, but we saw that exact same thing happen in the JST match where they took the obelisk at the end against PX34 and started zeroing some cities. It would be fun to watch the bottom lane obelisk for OV. Maybe get a little bit of fun happening to it.
Wow. Here, yeah, this obelisk is gonna flip. They're going to port up. 2 minutes left. Doesn't really matter, I suppose. You know, it seems like there was no answer all game, by the way, to the outpost pressure from Song. No answer at all.
Yep, there it is. Here comes the port ins. So 2 minutes and 10 seconds left. Let's see if they have a little fun.
Let's go. Time to start swarming some cities.
They need
1 port. 2 port.
Oh, they're gonna go kill provisioners.
3 port. Yeah, they're securing the point differential here.
Still
even
ever
though,
the strategy.
It doesn't exactly matter. 4 ports.
Still ever the strategy. Wow. Okay, so now it's blue again. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, at this point it does not matter.
Jackpot,
there's no way to make up the 10,000 points here. Just go. Oh gosh, those T1 Siege never stood a chance.
Yep. They're doing all kinds of stuff.
They never stood a chance. Oh god.
And now they will still get whatever they mine. They will still be able to bring back to the city. If they were killed while inside the node, they would have lost everything. So, still getting the points is Go Chobby, but obviously not generating any more because he's now back at his own city. So, here comes the fun. I mean, we got 4 Song cities here on the obelisk side. They're continuing to take the outposts, by the way. 2 outposts are red currently on the OV side as well. And, they're just harassing provisioners. They're, just having a little fun.
Wow. So, I'm going to have an interesting matchup next week. These guys are good. I got to play these guys. Oh, man.
Just don't get teleported in.
Woo. Okay.
Yeah, 30
impressive gameplay by both sides. I mean, the point gap has narrowed. We're looking at a 7,000 point game, heavy provisioning from OV. I don't think they can make up the difference here, though, right?
No, Song just brought some more provisions back as well. Oh, so Arc of Osiris is up. I mean, let's go. There's another port in for Song, by the way.
Yeah, nobody's in the middle. No reason to be in the middle. Wow, what a game.
Yeah, this is a great
characterized
great match to
by
watch.
impressive gameplay from both sides, but the structure game proving superior from Song to the Arc mid game from OV, a 2 Arc game. Not what I was expecting. However, did I win on that point differential bet, Drago?
Just barely.
I might have won. Congratulations to Song and to OV for an incredibly well-played game. MVP, 217,866 points on the board for the individual score. And if we just get a quick look at the board overall, it's that occupation score that's the big differentiator, a slight provision score boost for OV. a slight kill boost from S0NG, but mostly the game and the difference here defined by the buildings.
100%. The buildings really being critical in this matchup. The provision score and the Ark of Osiris score basically washed each other out. So it just really came down to who could take the buildings the most and keep the buildings the most. And S0NG clearly the winner in that regard. Over 8,000 points, almost 8,000 points, I should say. I don't want to give you too much credit. Almost 8,000 points in favor of S0NG on the occupation score. I would basically call the total kills about a wash as well. Units healed. I mean, I'm surprised.
Those are pretty low, actually.
Yeah, they even needed to do that in the first place. But 35 teleports tells the tale of the forward-facing obelisk port in for S0NG towards the end there. Had a blast, man.
If you've enjoyed this stream, consider throwing a like on the stream and subscribing to the channel. Also, Dragothian and I have our own YouTube channels committed to bringing you amazing Rise of Kingdoms content. The link is in the description if you want to go and check those out. Let's jump back now to the caster's booth. This was the only match at this time, so we don't need to review other scores, so we'll go back to the dual cast now. What a game and what a week it's been. Next week, we'll be back to cover the next round of Ark of Osiris League. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what time those matches are going to be. But if you thought this was some close gameplay, my friends, it only gets more contentious from here. Before we wrap up, Drago, do you have any thoughts?
Today's been all I could take. This was a great match to watch. I think we all kind of had our own thoughts going into this, and I think you called it, man. You were very, very hyped on S0NG, thinking they could take out the two-time reigning champions OV, and surely enough, that's exactly what happened. We have OV out of Season 5 Osiris League play. And
look, it's not a knock against OV. It's just I have a lot of experience with S0NG, more personal experience than I care to look like. Man, I fought against them in KVK. I know what they got. They got some punch, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And they delivered that punch here in the mid-fight. When it mattered, they went for it. Played the buildings like a fiddle. And then changed the tune. Went mid, dropped troops out of their buildings, had more in the mid, punched harder in the mid, took the second arc, and that was that. Again, if you enjoyed the stream, throw a like on here. Subscribe to the channel. Also, again, links in the description. If you want to check out my channel or Dragothian's channel for that committed Rise of Kingdoms content designed to help you get value and smash your enemies. We're out for now, but we'll be back next week for more Ark of Osiris League. Take care, everybody. Good luck in your games and your preparations over the course of this week, and we will see you here next week for more Ark League coverage.